First Maccabees 7. So Alexander reigned 12 years and then died. And his servants bare rule everyone in his place. And after his death, they all put crowns upon themselves, so that their sons after them many years, and evils were multiplied in the earth. Kol halal Yahweh Bahasham Yahushai Bahasham Kahakwadash. Double honors unto the apostles, double honors unto the elder bishops. Salutations to all my fellow laborers doing this work in truth and sincerity, risking their lives and their freedom to do so, now more so than ever. The would-be judges, the 144,000, 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel, the tabernacle of David, which will be the new government here on earth. The kingdom of heaven will be here on earth, led by a race of people who are the Israelites. The new government, the heavenly, on earth as it is in heaven. And the Israelites primarily make up of the face you see on the screen, the so-called Latinos and the Native Americans, primarily. And to the rest of the scattered elect that are scattered around the four corners of the earth, that be like unto the speckled bird, the Israelite foreigners among the heathen nations, that have the appearance of the heathen nations, so it's not a so-called black only thing. The Israelites are scattered among all people and have yet to been gathered up. All right. We're just watching a video where someone was talking about how they use the Bible to Christians use the Bible to support Israel. If you use the Bible to support Israel, you wouldn't support the people that are over in their land, because the Bible tells you that they're frauds. It tells you that they're the evil lineage, which is what this video is about. The lineage of Alexander. They are the Edomites. All right, as Amazing Lucas has so authentically coined. I'm going to be borrowing that from this point out. He just says the evil lineage, and he leaves it at that. I like that. All right. And to the rest of the Akwaf that are listening and learning, the sisters, I say shalom. This is your brother Malcolm from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Chicago, coming at you another lesson in truth. And let's, before I play any of these, I have probably about 12-minute worth of videos to play, different videos. I think the longest one will probably be about 5 minutes, and some scriptures, but all to make a point. So before we go any further, all right, got to get that copyright. Disclosure from section 107. Guess I could just say copyright section 107 declared, but I'm gonna read it anyway. All right, disclaimer, copyright disclaimer under section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. Fair use is use permitted by the copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. All right. So this video is called the 7 level of races. As usual, anytime I play a video, 90 times out of 100, the title and the name of the video will be at the bottom of the screen. All right. Now you can see the channel, and you can see the name of the video. This is their content. So I'm going to play like the first, actually I'm going to go to the 5-minute mark and let it play from there. And it's called the 7 levels of racism. We're going to start it at like 5. I highly suggest that you go and watch this. And 7 is a number of completion, so they're completely hateful. All right. And Esau Edom projects. Matter of fact, let's get that definition. Most of the hate that they push today, especially with your racist, very extremely and openly racist president, is pushing, and his cabinet, pushing forth the most hateful and racist bill. And they're going to be explaining here because they're level 6, 5 and 6. You know, the people who have 6, I believe, who have the power to, sign wickedness into law, all right, and use verbiage that makes it seem that it isn't racist and it's the complete opposite. All right. But this is a definition of projection. All right. And this is just a simple Google one. And I'm going to go to definition number 3 and go to point 2, bullet point 2. And it says, the unconscious transfer of one's own desires or emotions to another person. All right. And that's exactly what Esau Edom does. Their niggatry, their hate, their wickedness, their inferiority, they transfer it in a form of hate through policy or actual physical violence unto Jacob.
Off on systems that learn from our totally not racist data. The modern policymaker creates mass incarceration that looks totally legitimate, voter suppression that's technically legal, algorithmic bias that scales discrimination to industrial levels, all while maintaining plausible deniability. They don't wear hoods, they wear suits and hide behind focus groups and polling data. But sometimes elected officials drop the act entirely and just go full authoritarian. Level 4, the enforcer. Level 4 is where your own government decides black people organizing is a national security threat. Not the Klan, not actual terrorists, people asking for equal rights. These are FBI agents, police chiefs, prosecutors, and intelligence officials who use the full power of the state to crush black leadership. California and Illinois, 1960s to 70s. FBI agents literally ran a program called COINTELPRO to neutralize.
Refresh your taste with the mid-century makeover at Ashley. Discover vibrant and bold pieces.
Black leadership. Didn't just spy, they actively sabotaged, imprisoned, and assassinated civil rights leaders. Chicago, December 1969. FBI agents give Chicago police a detailed floor plan of Fred Hampton's apartment. They coordinate a raid at 4 a.m. while he's sleeping and he gets shot in the head. 21 years old. His crime? Feeding kids breakfast and teaching community organizing.
Yep.
They bug Martin Luther King Jr.'s hotel rooms, send him anonymous letters.
As a child, I was told that the Black Panthers were the worst thing and that Fred Hampton was so dangerous. And he just told you what Fred Hampton was doing. They were so afraid of Jake, especially of Judah, because they know the prophecy. They know exactly who these brown people are. All right. They know that they're the head tribe of the nation of Israel. And they're so afraid of them waking up that they would do these things. Is they would have the peaceful organizations and they still would attack and kill them, demonize them, project.
Telling him to, and the FBI director literally called him the most dangerous Negro in America. These are federal agents. Think this is ancient history? Federal agents tracked Black Lives Matter organizers' cell phones, created fake social media accounts to monitor activists. And
now, BLM was a setup. And then they put in a black male, knowing that the face of BLM was alphabet style black women who actually, and black men had no place in BLM, especially if they were not alphabet lifestyle. So this projection is a complete lie. And BLM was basically it was a white organization with a black name. Fact. All right. They were really a subsidiary of Antifa. And all these Black Lives Matter rallies and things like that, there will be more white people there than black. And you can drive through the hood right now. You'll never see a BLM in anybody's window. But you drive through the wealthiest neighborhoods. You go to Bucktown, Wicker Park, to Andersonville. You go to any of those places, you're going to see BLM in the windows of houses, homes, and businesses.
And somehow, protesters keep ending up dead in cars and jail cells. But I'm sure it's all totally different now. Level 4 racists have badges, security clearances, and legal authority to destroy lives. They don't just discriminate, they wage war. Of course, when federal agents are too busy to handle things personally, there's always the street-level enforcers. Level 5, the uniform. Level 5 is where the people sworn to protect and serve become the threat, with badges, guns, and legal immunity to do whatever they want. These aren't bad apples, they're products of departments with bad cultures, bad training, and bad incentives. Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Mostly of the evil lineage.
1921. Police officers don't just allow a white mob to destroy the wealthiest black community in America, they call in air support to drop bombs. Actual bombs on American citizens. Then they blame the victims. Ferguson, Missouri, 2014. The Department of Justice finds police officers were basically running a legal extortion racket, targeting black residents for traffic tickets to fund the city budget. Almost like taxation without representation, but with tasers. New York City, 2000s. Police officers conduct 700,000 stop and frisk encounters per year, 90% on black and Latino men.
Yep.
Hit rate for finding weapons, about 1%. So basically, legal harassment with a 99% failure rate. But hey, they had quotas to meet. These officers pull over black drivers at twice the rate during the day, but the disparity disappears at night when they can't see races clearly. They arrest black kids for the same infractions that get white kids warnings.
So interesting. And you've heard me say it 1,000 times. All right. The police are instructed to do over-policing in neighborhoods where so-called blacks and browns are. All right. When the children that are walking around with the most drugs on them, both legal and illegal, are Pell students. The white kids in the wealthy neighborhoods, in the wealthy schools, all right, they have the money to get the drugs. Okay, and they're walking around with drugs in their backpacks and on their persons, and you don't see, because I'm through Lincoln Park, Bucktown, Wicker Park almost every day. All right, and I never see white kids bent over the hoods of police cars getting their pockets run, and their backpacks and their pockets inside out like they're getting robbed by law enforcement. But that's all you see, when you're traveling through the hood. That's what you see. And when you're around Edomite teenagers, alcohol and the smell of weed is just as prevalent as you see with children that look like the one on the screen. So Esau is full of shit, man. He projects, and then he uses legal authority, his legal power to suppress and oppress people of color.
They patrol black neighborhoods like occupying armies. Level 5 racists have legal authority to use violence while investigating themselves for misconduct. They don't
while investigating themselves for misconduct. All right, let's get a couple scriptures. All right. Yeah, they prescribing these laws, man. Mischief by law. That's Psalms 94:20. And it reads, shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which framest mischief by law? They gather themselves together against the souls of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. And this is what they do all day long. Stop resisting. Stop resisting. Okay? Did you just reach for my weapon? It's like, no, I didn't, sir. Yeah. There's no remedy. The only remedy we have, all right, because you don't get remedy in the courts. They pass laws that are oppressive, that are wicked, and that violate your rights, and then they give you no remedy. Like a perfect example is Title 4D child support. It's completely unethical. First of, and secondly, it's illegal according to the law of the land. It's a gross violation of the Constitution and your civil rights, the way that they enforce it. All right, you don't get due process, and but they make money out of it, and that's okay because the Lord is going to bring their own iniquity upon them. All right, so I'm gonna give you another case of It's my man Amazing Lucas. I'm dealing with this brother right here. This brother be going in. All right. But I know he watches and he has watched Israelite content. Most of these people have. Especially when they come with some of the things that they say and do. Because they use a lot of verbiage that only we use. And they come with talking points that only the Hebrews brought forth onto the internet now, So I know a lot of these people have been watching. All right. But you know, all this, they have hundreds of years of oppression and 500-year head start, and the Edomites are in the same boat that we're in right now. So this fraudulent thing called whiteness, it's failed them. All right. So without any further ado, my man's here, the amazing Lucas.
Experience, black communities being targeted, Black Wall Street being destroyed, because you have to think about it. I'm not justifying it, but I understand. Because if you start thinking about it, these were a group of people that said, hey, we are the superior race, all right? Nobody's superior than us. We are it. We are the peak of the species. And then they had, these black people, and they were telling everybody, these people, low IQ, they're degenerates, low impulse control, violent. That's what they were telling people, right? Just completely maligning our image. Then sure enough, one day we get free and we go on to start building thriving communities, right?
All
and
over
then on
America.
top of the thriving
More than 200, by the way.
Businesses, successful businesses, mind you. Now, this is after they just told everybody that these people...
Right, so they push forth the fraudulent white superiority doctrine, and as soon as these uneducated people were let off the plantation, since they know how to do everything, because they did everything, they did exactly that, and they built over 200 towns here in America. Not ghettos, but towns and neighborhoods that were thriving. And the hate of the evil lineage, the racism and the hate of the evil lineage, couldn't handle it. And so what they did was they went throughout America, and they destroyed all these towns that these Negroes, that these thriving communities with their families, with their fathers, no baby mamas, married, no gang banging, no thugs and all that. How they were thriving and doing very well. And then they destroyed them, and they replaced them with ghettos. All right, they replaced them with policy that railroaded them to prison. All right, that allowed them to arrest and suppress their development, and then wrote programs that disallowed them from participating in property and ownership of property and business, et cetera, and made them depend on the government, remove the man from the home, so forth and so forth. And now all of a sudden we got ghettos and YNs running around with switches today. Now you got YNs running around with switches and skirts. And all this is from the project, the scientific project that of oppression and degeneracy that was forced upon them by the evil lineage.
With low IQ, made laws to prohibit them from reading and writing, and that's what they go on to do. Now, what happens is that they start to look like liars, and they don't like to look like liars, bro. When they say something, it's their word or the highway, okay? And it's understandable why they be like, yo, burn it down. Burn it all down.
With Amex Business Platinum, you get access to over 1,400 lounges worldwide, including the Centurion Lounge.
When I watched this video,
which means you can recharge for your next
and then
business
they make
adventure.
the commercial so goddamn loud that you can't
powerful
click
backing
off of it.
American Express.
Burn it all.
But, when it comes to the freeways, where they're like, hey, we're going to build a freeway. That's what we're going to do. Oh, okay. I like freeways. Where'd you plan on building the freeway? Well, I'm going to build it right there. Oh, well, it seems like there's people who live there. I know. Oh, those people live there. Yeah, no, build it right through there. Absolutely. Right through the Kool-Aid and the chicken. Just meow. Not justified, but I'm starting to understand. Nevertheless, this leads us to present day, where you have these two.
Isaiah 10:1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and the right grievousness which they have prescribed, to turn aside the needy from judgment, and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And that's exactly what they did. All right. They had no regard for our people, for their lives. The hundreds of thousands that were killed collectively from the time after slavery, by both the level 4 and level 5 enforcement of the evil lineage here in America, which legalized the murder of our people, the rape, rob, and murder of our people, and the restricted arrestment of their development. All right. You know, there was a group from the 90s called Arrested Development, and that was the name was so rightfully so, because it's exactly what they did. They arrested so-called black development. And as you can clearly see, you know, some very well-educated person in their stupidity would call Amazing Lucas black. Well, Amazing Lucas is brown, and he's a light brown on top of that. But someone who's got all kinds of degrees and PhDs will still be stupid enough and ignorant enough to refer to him as a black man. So they, you know, and what did that do? That's connected to the oppression. That's part of the wickedness that was prescribed. See, they made that term up. All right, and they use the word black on purpose. And I'm tired of telling you ninjas out there, all right, to stop using and embracing that word. It's just like white is made up. They're not white, they're red. They're the Edomites. All right, they're running from their heritage. Okay. Meanwhile, the real threat to America is here. Okay. Here's the real threat to America. Esau, Edom, the evil lineage.
Black fatigue, though. Oh, my goodness. So I'm sure we're all aware of the travesty that has struck Minnesota. It was apparently a black male who went to... excuse me 1 second. Oh, it wasn't a black male. Okay. All right. Yeah. No, that makes sense. I'm sorry. It was apparently a Latino male. Even worse, we see why Trump is trying to deport these people out of here. They're criminals. A Latino male that went to a Catholic school and Give me one moment. I'm getting an update. So it wasn't a Latino male. Huh? That can't be. You guys double check? You guys sure? Okay. All right. That's awfully weird. Apologies. I've been updated, and since new information that's current and accurate is that it was a white male that went to a Catholic school and apparently did a horrible thing. That's what that's what happened to me. Bruh, listen, it's not funny, but I'm just letting you know this is what happens, okay? Y'all were so focused on the Smithsonian, right? Y'all were so focused on black history. We got to erase black history. We got to get rid of affirmative action. We can't have that. We got to get rid of a birthright citizenship. All this focus on that. All the focus on bastardizing black jargon, right? When it comes to bastardizing the word woke, trying to use that as a negative. When it now comes to as far as trying to steal, which is what they're, that's what they're good at, if we're going to be honest, okay? Trying to steal and colonize black fatigue. A term that we use amongst black people to acknowledge the foolishness that we had to put up with the lineage of evil. Damn. Sure enough, they try to flip it and say, oh, we got black fatigue. That's what happens. Now, how did all that prevent what happened in Minnesota? Can y'all tell me? What? I'm all ears. Can y'all explain to me? Because I just want to be perfectly clear. Never, I'll say in the last few decades in this country, have you ever had a black person, okay, go to a predominantly white church and do a crime like this? You've never had a black person go to anywhere predominantly white and purposefully, with the intent, trying to harm a group of people because they're white. Hasn't happened. But you want to know what has happened? We had what happened in Buffalo, the little white boy there. And what you need to understand is that the chickens are coming home to roost.
He's out of line, but he's right.
It just is what it is. And I know.
It is what it is. And it's hundreds of cases, all right, of white males doing this sort of thing, of the evil lineage doing what they do. And they always give an excuse, and I just find it amazing that, an Edomite male can go and kill children, 10, 15, 20, 30, all right? And, little YN will go shoot up 2 or 3 gangbangers, even one that's the opposite gang of himself, and he'll get life without possibility of parole, triple life. And these Edomites get psychiatric treatment. Oh, there's a mental health crisis. Bullshit. Evil lineage.
There are a lot of good white people out there like, Lucas, I didn't have anything to do with this. This isn't fair. I understand. I hear you. I know it's not fair, but as the scripture says that y'all love to quote, the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike, okay? So now, because y'all were silent while the lineage of evil were doing their evil, now it's coming to your doorsteps, okay? And I want people to also understand when they want to talk about accountability, when they want to talk about responsibility, when they want to talk about, oh, black people have been coddled.
Think about it, all right? Just per example, you know, we all know about the Hollywood movie, the series of Michael Myers. You know, kind of a cool story in a way, as far as entertainment value. But, you know, why even waste 1 cent of a taxpayer's money on a person like that? Michael Myers should have been taken out, chopped to pieces, and burned alive, you know, firing squad, whatever. Body hacked to pieces and sent to the four corners of the earth and then burned. All right. But yet they always put him in a psychiatric home, and then he would, you know, just be the lineage of evil, get out and kill everybody until they caught him and killed him again. So that it's just stupid what they do. All right. Within the Bible, the nation of Israel, the laws in the Bible, if you take someone's life, your life gets taken. That's it. If you took their life unjustly, as simple as that. And if that was, and if the laws of the Bible were actually enforced, people wouldn't murder, rape, and, and things like that. They wouldn't rob. They wouldn't do it because the penalties would be so severe. People just wouldn't do it. All right.
No. The number one group of people who have been coddled in this country are white people, specifically white men, we'll say. And I'm not saying all of them. No, I'm talking about the lineage of evil. Because when they go and do something where they say, oh, well, little Timmy came from a good background. That's why we should give him a...
And I'll say this. Edom is evil. Now, understanding, he says not all of them. I'll just say this. They're Israelites and other people scattered among, Esau. So the ones that just don't have that murderous tendency, that tendency just to, or to condone it because they don't speak up about it, they go ahead and benefit from it and move into the houses of the people that were raped, robbed, murdered, and burned. All right. And then, those people are Edomites too, and they're just as guilty.
Lenient sentence for what he did to that woman. We see this all the time. We had the two kids. Remember the two kids who had guns? All right. Pointing at officers. And what happened? They didn't start pop going off at the kids, right? Because they were two white kids.
Yeah.
Two white boys. White boys. What happened? The officer came up and give me those guns. What did they do with Tamir Rice?
When my team pitched the idea...
And then they put a commercial, these sons of bitches.
I thought it was impossible. A pan that sears like stainless, lasts like cast iron, and doesn't use...
What did they do with Elijah McClain?
Okay, so Tamir Rice and Elijah McClain, they had toy guns, all right, and with just kids playing with colorful toy guns you could see with toys, and the police rolled up and gunned down these I think they were 12 and 13 or something to that effect. And I remember when I was a kid, we used to play cops and robbers. We had to be like, between the ages of 9 and 13. And we'd have it'd be 10, 15 of us running around, playing with these toy guns, playing cops and robbers, And it's just amazing that we didn't get gunned down. All right. Amazing. So when I remember that and think about that, it's like, dang, I was no different. Tamir Rice was on a playground by himself. He's about 12. Running around, rolling, pretending he's being shot at, shooting back. He's a kid playing with the gun. With the toy gun. Not a real gun, a toy gun. Brightly colored one. And the cops roll right. First of all, some person of the evil lineage called the police on him. If you were looking at him, you could clearly see he was a kid and clearly see he was playing. All right. So they called the police with the intention, hoping that the police would come and unalive this child. So the person who called is just as guilty as the cop who rode up and pulled the trigger, because that was their intention, the evil lineage. All right. And I'm willing to bet it was probably an Edomite woman.
What they do with Willie McCoy? Damn. Just letting you know, the number one group that has been coddled is them. As I've said before, every accusation is a confession.
Yep.
What they love to do is project. It's a form of gaslighting that they have mastered over time.
Yes, they have. They have mastered it. They project.
As I said before, this lineage of evil comes here to kill, steal, and destroy.
Ooh, you know what? Let's get some scriptures. Let's get a couple. This is Luke 12:2. For there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, neither hid that shall not be known. So that they purposely put policy into place which allows them to unalive you, railroad you to prison, and completely oppress and arrest your development as a people. Redlining, not allowing you to get loans, home loans, business loans. All right. There was even a time when you couldn't even take a so-called white person to court. All right. You couldn't own a firearm. So what did that? So, that time was America and the hood was a playground for the so-called white male. He get drunk, jump in his pickup truck, get about 5-6 of his buddies, a couple shotguns and bats, ride through the neighborhood, jump out, beat the hell up, hang a couple niggas, beat up a couple niggas, snatch up a couple nigga gals, take them to the woods and SA them. Yeah. This was a regular Friday, Saturday night thing. Have picnics to come and watch the torture and death of some poor brown soul who's accused of doing something to some white woman, which is a complete lie. The evil lineage. All right. This is Deuteronomy 33:29. And it reads, Happy art thou, Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by Yahweh, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. Yeah, so their high places is their lies. Their lies have been a stronghold for them, and we're treading upon them. Their houses are crumbling. The curses are now falling upon them because we return to who we are. And why? Because this is what they have done. And they're going to do it one last time, and it's still going to fail them, just like everything else has failed them. But this is 1 Peter 5:8. He kind of quoted it. Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, the evil lineage, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour. This is exactly what he does. And now it's backfired on him, and it crashing out. Okay? They're becoming victims of their own wickedness.
Turns out the student loans that I've been paying $1,500 a month for 2 years have a 17% interest rate. So what I thought I've been paying off for all this time, I'm actually, I owe more than what I started off with. What the fuck? So Jeff Bezos, this would be a really cool fucking time to Venmo me, bro. I owe $90,000 and I didn't even spend that much on school. Any rich person, please tap in. Kourtney Kardashian, you probably have 8 houses. I'm never gonna be able to buy one because I went to college. I just signed up to be an egg donor. Guess what? Got approved. Who wants my fucking kids? I can't afford them, so start bidding more. Just fucking take them. What do you want? My left arm too? What the fuck am I supposed to do? I'm gonna be in debt for my whole fucking life. How does that even make sense? I signed up for this shit when I was 17. This should not be legal, bro. I got upset about it at work, and my coworker was like, don't you have a rich relative who could pay that for you? No, my family's poor. No. And the worst fucking.
Hey, her family benefited from the false title of whiteness, though, for generation after generation after generation, being first in line. Right? She's sitting in the car right now. You know how many of people of color that don't even have a car?
Part is, bro, look where I am. Like, I can't go in because I can't spend money, but I just want to be here because it makes me feel better. I just went grocery shopping, and until I get a paycheck on August 30th, I am using a credit card for groceries for the next couple of months. And that credit card was declined today. So I had to use our debit card for groceries, which left us with nothing to pay our bills, which means that I had to go dip into savings, which our savings is there to pay our rent for the next 2 months until I start getting a paycheck. So I'm really stressed out. And if this like TikTok thing and making money online thing could like take off, now would be the time, because we're running out of money.
Deuteronomy 30:7. And Yahweh thy power will put all these curses upon thy enemies and on them that hate thee, which persecute thee. All right. Racistness and hate is expensive, Esau, Edom, evil lineage. And all you've done is coming back upon you. Your time is nearly up. And see, Jake is used to this. Esau, Edom is not. All right. They're having a hard time, man. And it's only going to get worse. So like I always tell you, put on your seatbelt. Stay prayed up. Because this ride is just getting started. All right. Shalom. Kwam Yasharallah. Abad Babal.